Federal investigators just uncovered their most promising lead in Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. It isn't genetic material or latent prints. It's a specific cryptocurrency ledger. The data within that account could finally identify the individual who targeted an 84-year-old woman. Before diving into the technical details, a crucial point must be addressed. Since Nancy vanished on the 1st of February, one question has dominated the public discourse. Was the family responsible? I will soon reveal why a former federal agent listed 10 reasons clearing them. First, we must follow the digital money trail. Days after Nancy was taken from her Tucson home, her family received a chilling ransom demand. It wasn't a handwritten note or a midnight phone call. It was a Bitcoin address demanding $6 million. That ultimatum hit Savannah Guthrie and her siblings with a Monday 5 p.m. deadline. Pay up or their mother was gone. The deadline passed without payment, leading to a twist that no one in the investigation anticipated. A second message surfaced, sent not to the family, but to TMZ. The new demand? One single Bitcoin. That's roughly $70,000 in exchange for the identity of Nancy's actual abductor. This wasn't the kidnapper seeking a payday. It was an informant offering to sell out the criminal responsible. Imagine the psychological weight of that. Someone knows the truth and attempted to profit from the betrayal. But the Bureau was far from idle while these digital messages were being exchanged. Agents have been scrutinizing every fraction of a cent moving through that wallet since the first day. Ari Redboard detailed this hunt on Nancy Grace's program. As a leader at TRM Labs, he specializes in high-level crypto forensics. His testimony effectively shatters the myths that most people still believe about digital currency. He noted that every transaction on a public blockchain, especially Bitcoin, is permanently traceable and entirely immutable. There is no delete button. While many associate Bitcoin with total anonymity, that's a dangerous misconception. Nancy's captor likely relied on that false sense of security, but the technology tells a different story. Every Bitcoin address exists as a unique, permanent identifier. When money moves, it's recorded on a public ledger for the world to see. The Bureau doesn't need to hack anything. They don't require warrants for public data. Tools at TRM Labs go beyond simple observation to map entire criminal networks. They cross-reference addresses against databases of known terrorists, black market operators, and sanctioned individuals. If the person who set up that wallet ever used a standard exchange to buy their coins, or moved assets through any verified service, the authorities are likely closing in on their true identity. This highlights a vital reality of modern cryptocurrency investigations that most people overlook. Investigators don't need to catch a suspect in the physical act of the crime. They only need the suspect to make one error that links a digital ghost to a real person. One cash out at a registered exchange or one transfer to a flagged account is all it takes. That is the tipping point. In this case, the individual behind the wallet has already blinked. They moved the funds. On February 11th, 10 days after she vanished, news reports confirmed new activity within the Ransom account. Someone moved the money, betting they weren't being watched. They were wrong. The FBI was tracking every move. Every transaction left a digital fingerprint that cannot be erased, edited, or obscured from federal view. The authorities are pursuing that trail at this very moment. To stay updated on this rapidly evolving investigation, subscribe and enable notifications. You won't want to miss the next update. Now, let's address the question I mentioned earlier, the suspicion that haunts the public mind. Was it an inside job? In any disappearance, the immediate circle is the first place investigators look for answers. For the Guthries, that meant scrutinizing Annie, who lived with her mother, her sister Savannah, and their entire family. Jennifer Coffender, a former federal special agent, brings a professional eye to these suspicions. She spent years navigating kidnappings and missing persons cases where families were shattered by violence. She understands the subtle nuances between the performance of guilt and the heavy reality of grief. She recently detailed 10 specific reasons why she believes the family is entirely innocent of any wrongdoing. These aren't internet theories or social media guesses. This is expert analysis from a career government investigator. Reason number 1. The statistical reality of statistical anomalies define cases like this. Abductions represent under 1% of violent crime. Such rare occurrences are virtually unheard of. Secondly, the household's mourning appears authentic. Analysts like Coffender observed their psychological reactions, determining the devastation was far from a performance. Third, 84-year-old Nancy faced significant physical decline. Relatives seeking to inflict harm would hardly orchestrate a theatrical abduction involving digital currency and written demands. The logic simply fails. Fourth, the economic incentive is negligible. With a property valued near $1 million, a three-way split yields roughly $300,000 each. Masterminding such an intricate plot for a mere $300,000 defies criminal psychology. Fifth, the execution suggests professional complexity beyond familial reach, involving technical sabotage, masks, and cryptocurrency. An inside job would favor simplicity. Sixth, Nancy relied on Annie and her spouse for her primary day-to-day care. Constant access eliminated any need for a forced entry into their residence. Seventh, Savannah's wealth was already substantial, given her status as a premier news personality in the United States. Nancy's public presence made her a valuable connection, not a liability. Eighth, the chronology presents significant contradictions. The abduction occurred during Savannah's high-profile Olympic assignment. Striking while under intense global scrutiny, thousands of miles from Tucson, is illogical. Ninth, authorities formally exonerated the relatives. Both federal agents and local deputies verified that no kin remains under suspicion. 10th, and perhaps most tellingly, surveillance footage captured an individual conducting 3 separate scouting missions at the residence that January. Thrice, a former resident has no need for reconnaissance. This is the distinct signature of an external predator. Eliminating the family leaves a chilling question. Who was the actual intruder? This uncertainty fuels the investigation's unease. Evidence suggests this wasn't a random selection, but a calculated strike by someone intimately familiar with the layout and security blind spots. The perpetrator understood how to sever the digital security links and realized Nancy would be vulnerable and solitary that evening. They navigated the interior with enough precision to bypass every sensor undetected. One specific detail remains particularly haunting to investigators. Eldon Meister, a neighbor, reported observing a suspicious figure patrolling the area 14 days prior. Her description was meticulous. The individual lacked any common neighborhood purpose. He wasn't exercising or walking a pet. He seemed to be analyzing the terrain. When questioned about the possible number of suspects, she suspected a larger group. She estimated 2 or 3 individuals were working in a disciplined, synchronized fashion. That night, a lens caught a masked figure in dark attire, hauling a heavily weighted pack. It remains unclear if the bag contained equipment for the entry or trophies taken from the crime scene. Federal investigators maintain that the architect of the digital wallet left a critical trail. Digital ledgers offer no true anonymity, and the investigative net is tightening. One mystery, however, persists. If agents followed the currency movement 10 days post-abduction, their insights must be deep. Given their global database of criminal accounts, the lack of an immediate caller is perplexing. What justifies this strategic delay? Share your perspective on this mystery below. Will the blockchain lead to a conviction? Or are federal authorities withholding a darker truth? To understand the pivotal nuances of the night Nancy vanished, review the previous report. The story of Nancy Guthrie is more than a chilling mystery. It is a profound parable for the era we live, in a world where the physical and digital realms are inextricably linked by the choices we make. The ledger of our lives. In the shadows of the modern age, many believe that a screen can hide a soul. We trade in digital gold, convinced that an alphanumeric string is a mask that never slips. But there is a haunting, fundamental truth we must all confront. In the digital age, there are no ghosts, only footprints. Every click, every transfer, and every whispered demand sent into the dark is etched into a ledger that never forgets and never forgives. To the predator, the blockchain feels like a shield. To the seeker of justice, it is a map. Yet, beyond the cold forensics, lies a deeper lesson about our shared humanity. While we follow the money trail, we must never lose sight of the hearts shattered in the wake of greed. Let this be a warning to those who believe they can outrun their own shadows. The light of justice is no longer just a flash in the dark. It is a permanent record. Integrity is the only currency that doesn't leave a trail of regret. In a world where every action is archived, the only way to remain truly hidden from judgment is to live a life that requires no hiding.